As one that has started to write in my 2.0 era, for those of you all who have been thinking about writing, wanting to write, especially in this time in your life, this is just a little personal conversation with me, but also an encouragement for you to start your life, even in this 2.0 time. You know, I know for me personally, I worry about how I've wasted time in relationships and friendships and environments that did not serve me or suit me. But I do want to be this encouragement to let you know that in this time, with all the wisdom, all the knowledge, all the experience that you've gained, this too is your time. I started writing at 9 years old, believe it or not, 9 years old. And at 9 years old, I loved books. The library was my favorite place to go and be. And at the time, Ramona Quimby, age 8, there was this whole series that Beverly Clearly wrote. And I love every Beverly Clearly Ramona book I would buy. I would go to the library and get. I would rent out, and I read all the books. And they, these books that they weren't. They were heavy. They were like 200 or so pages each, and I would get like 5 of them, and I would read them in a week. And it was something about the love of words that I just appreciated. Like, it was such a love of words, even then. And at 9, it was like I grew up, as most of us in this 2.0 time of our lives, like we grew up in this, you're to be seen and not heard. So a lot of times the only thing that I was able to relate to or able to express myself through was the written word. And so my mother would take me to the store, and I would get the black and white composition notebooks. And any pen I could find around the house, I would just write. There were so many questions that I had when I was a little girl that no one wanted to answer. Like, I had an interest in sex. And, now I know that that's not like a bad thing. That's not abnormal. But back then, growing up in a very stodgy sort of Christian background, you couldn't ask about that. But I just had an interest in all things grown. I just, and so I would write. I knew, somehow just by all the reading that I'd done, I knew that, the 3-story act at the beginning, the climax, and the end. And I would write these books about Prince and us falling in love, and Apollonia trying to come and take my man. But then we had this big mansion with a big pool in the back. Like, I had a whole thing going on. I had dialogue and all of that. So at 9, the written word became a way for me to understand the things that no one was willing to explain to me. I remember the year I came back to writing. So after 9, I did some writing, but not in the way that I did it then. And then, I had, started to try to write a book. I remember it was called 5 Sisters. And I had gotten all the way up to chapter 10. And this is when I was like 21. I'm out of college. I'm feeling the tug. I'm still in this space where it felt like I needed to be able to express. And I never finished it. And so then I want to say it was like 2018 hit, and I was like, I need to do something. I need to reindulge my creative something, because what was coming up, my son was leaving for college. The relationship I was in was declining. I just knew it. I knew it wasn't going to make it. But also I was like, I have to have something more than just going to work, coming home, worrying about my son that's about to leave, worrying about this relationship that's also about to leave, over concerning myself with people that, I wasn't too sure if they cared. Like, it was so much of my energy was spent outward. And I probably was around 45, 46, 47, somewhere around there. And that time is like both magical and scary, right? Because the things that you kept trying to do, you begin to recognize that it's not giving the receipts. And around that time, I really desperately needed to find, where did I fit into this world? And so I went back to writing, right? So I feverishly searched the internet to find the writing group. I think I put in writing group, and I found a writing course. And the first course was the creative writing course. And I took that course. It was a 4-week course. And it was amazing because it got me out the house. It got me with other people. And it got me writing again. And that spark began to fire up. And then my co-Lavalase is her name, and she's written a couple books, so look her up. She offered a novel writing course. And I was like, ooh, give me a good project. I love a good project. And I took that course. And that's where my first book, Magnolias Bloom in May, was born. So, Magnolias Bloom in May. That book was written out of so many questions that I had about the life that I had lived up until that point. I've said in my first or second video that authors write from their experience, right? And up until that time, as I said, my son is leaving for college, I'm in this relationship that is declining fast. And the question that I had at the time was, what had I gone through over the last 20 some odd years? Like from 21 to 47, I think I was at the time. I was like, what was all of this? And so that was sort of the place that Magnolias Bloom in May was born from. I had a question. I just had a question. And so as I wrote the narrative, that question is still in the back of my mind. And not only a question, but I also needed to review. Like my first Magnolias Bloom in May was about me just reviewing what the hell happened, in the last 27 years. What had happened? And so it's interesting about that first novel because the question was sort of centering in the middle, and the characters sort of came to shape as a result. They shaped themselves around the question. And that's why, like, in my second, video, and then in the next episode, when we form our story. But that's why I'm encouraging, like, to think about what have you gone through, because that's where you're going to write from, right? And so Magnolias Bloom in May, there's this, woman that, had it all and lost it all, had husband, home, down, child, and lost it all, became a single parent, and then the stresses thereof, and had to return back home to her auntie to find, sort of find her roots. But what she found was there were family secrets and, a legacy that was to pass down to her. And then there were pre-eternal, community members who might or might not have had some spiritual or magicalness about them, and her having to really face her own pain to get to her happiness. And there's so much more that happens with that. But the point being is that Magnolias Bloom in May was born out of a question and out of me really, really reviewing what it life been for me over the last 27 years. And that novel really brought up some painful things. Like, all of it is not totally me, but there's some points in my life that I took out of where I was like, that was really painful, that I bought into that narrative, just to help me to kind of understand what it was that I had gone through. Yeah. After writing Magnolias Bloom in May, so much more life happened after that. My son, started to live life and go through some of life's challenges. I also did so much healing during that time, from my first book to my second book. And my second book, In the Next Lifetime, was born out of a question and out of an inquiry about love. And when the choice between a love that feels otherworldly and a love that you're obligated to because of money and children and bank accounts and life. And at that time in my life, I was in a relationship that, like I said before, I knew was ending, but it was very hard to leave it because it felt obligatory. I felt afraid to leave it, and the life that I had formed up until that point, like, I just didn't think I could leave it. I didn't think that I could create a new life. And there was a person that was interested in me at the time, and I wanted to pursue it, and it's like hindsight, I wish I would have pursued it, but I didn't, because I'm faithful. I'm a faithful bitch. But I was faithful. And but the whole dynamic around that, In the Next Lifetime, was born out of a question of, like, how do we balance and manage obligation versus divine love. And so many things in that novel happened, but again, just the emphasis that, like, it really came out of a question that I had. And so the book that I'm writing now, That Day in August, is also exploring just, what happens when you find something that a relationship and life circumstances, and that heals what hurt. That heals what hurt, you know. And my books as of late, and I want to bring about this 2.0 period of life. I've written standalones. You know, people talk about series, but like, you know, sometimes I feel like all of my characters, they just represent different times in my life. So as you begin to pursue writing your own novels, like, don't be afraid to pull on the experiences that life has taught you, because it's taught you a lot. And what's really fun is being able to put character around that, to be able to put a world around that learning and the healing of that time. And I promise you, like, even as you're doing it, you'll begin to explain somehow. Your subconsciousness will begin to explain the things that happen. You'll begin to experience healing and an understanding and a peace made with things. Now, like, not everything needs, you know, people don't need to know your business. They don't need to know your business. But like, your life experiences are such a rich tapestry and a rich background of the novels that only you can write. We're going to do more talks like this, just more up close and personal talks. But because this is my channel is new, I just wanted you to have a bit of a background as to who I am as a writer, but also just an invitation for you to come on and write. You know, the world is so needing our stories. And I know that when as I was growing up as a young girl and then a teenager and a young woman, you know, my authors were, Beverly Clearly, Judy Blume, who else? Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, Nasaki Shangi, Gloria Naylor, Ibaye, all of those, you know, Alice is still here. Terry Macmillan was another one. I'm so glad she's still with us. Like, those were the authors that grew me and helped to frame my ideas of what story is. Like, they were my, my author mentors. And so I feel like, and I'm going to say this, and I hope this doesn't get me canceled, but I feel like it's our stories in this 2.0 time in our lives that we need a return back to that kind of voice. I'm loving the fantasy. I'm loving the different perspectives that's coming, but I'm grateful for a Kennedy Ryan and a Tia Williams and these authors that's talking about the things of life that happen. You know, I know when I was coming up and reading as a young woman, it was so very amazing to have Terry Macmillan talk about, talk about men and relationships and how she got her groove back, and, you know, several other novels that she wrote. Like, she spoke to where I was. And so I feel like one of the things that made Terry's books just kind of hit, even Alice, Gloria Naylor, and Asaki Shang, all of their books hit at a space and place because they really were speaking from experiences, be it joy, be it pain, be it love, be it betrayal, whatever it was, they spoke from that place. And so I am encouraging you. I am going to be one of those authors where they like, she hit it. She hit it. Because that's exactly what I was feeling like, and I'm praying that I am hoping for more of us in this 2.0 time in our lives, be it, and like I said, everybody is welcome to my page, because I'm going to do this writing sort of tips and techniques, for the indie author. But I really, really, really am entreating the women in their 2.0, and that if, between, 35 to 65, like if you are feeling like you need to write, we need to hear your stories. We need to hear your experiences, because I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of people who are motherless or didn't get the sort of, big mama training or, auntie training, that our books can give. And so I coined myself Janetta Shorter, the teller of tales that heal. That means a lot to me. And I want my books, I want my readers to look at and read my books, and my characters to explain their stories, their ups and downs. I want them to challenge their thinking. I want them to get in the face of their pain and and really, really move. I want my books to move readers to healing, but with spice and magic and intrigue and so thank you so much for joining me for this sort of intimate look into my writing world, and I am just welcoming you to step into your own. Thank you for joining me again. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, y'all.